Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and yeah, today's miniature may not be the most obscure, but you know what? I don't care. I always wanted to have a Super Saiyan Goku, and I've never had one. And now, I can finally change that when I'm shopping at Target of all things. So I was just at the store with my wife and kids, looking for normal household supplies, and then I just inadvertently wandered by the toy section, because that's what I like to do. And noticed that they had these Figurerise models. I've never built one, at least of Son Goku. The last Goku kit that I built was the Master Grade regular version of him, which was quite a few years ago, and he's stayed in my classroom since. And, you know, as a child growing up in the 80s and 90s, if you're of a certain age, you probably remember the old Dragon Ball plastic figures kind of like everywhere that anime stuff was present. I saw those things at the mall. I saw them at like all of the various anime goods stores, the hobby shops, anybody that in manga places, they always had those figures, and they were always overpriced, and I never had any. And I'll be honest, I didn't really want any because they were kind of janky looking. I don't think they were very posable. I'm thinking this is like around like 93, 94, even 95. I know that stuff came back when Dragon Ball GT was on TV. Sounds about the right years. But anyway, I always wanted to have Super Saiyajin style one. Never could find one. Never wanted to pay full price for one. And I always wanted to build one. And I don't recall ever seeing any real Dragon Ball kits. Now, I'd built a lot of old Ultimate Muscle Kinnikuman model kits from the 80s. Did Saint Seiya stuff. I keep thinking I built some of the Dr. Slump ones. I mean, I've cut my teeth on anime licensed figures of the 80s and 90s. But like I said, I never had a Goku of my own, at least in this size. So I found it interesting that everything is actually in English. I've picked up Gundam kits before at Target, which if you're not familiar, Target's like one of the big box stores here in the States. That carries a little bit of everything, and they even sometimes have model kits, and you can build the Ultimate Warrior with the muscle build system. Let's stop talking about that stuff. Alright, as I said, I've never had a chance to build any of these. That is about to change. I'm curious how many stickers there are. And already it's interesting to me is just the style of parts for the flesh-colored pieces in how they are in comparison to the old Master Grade kit. Got the gold for the hair. I think green is for the shoes. Maybe? We've got the red bands here for various spots, and lots of orange for his gi. Okay, I legit don't know where the green goes. Interesting. I don't know. And I don't see anything about that here. Muscle build-up system. I wonder if that's just like their fancy way of saying you had to build the model yourself. I really don't know. All the instructions are in English, so I'm assuming there's probably versions like this out there for other non-Japanese speaking countries. But I'm going to stop blabbing. I'm going to put him together because it doesn't look too complicated, and hopefully we will have him done while I can sit and relax this afternoon with a cup of coffee. So, sit tight! Alright, we got Super Saiyan Goku here all put together, and I gotta say, you know, having actually built the Master Grade Goku kit when it came out a long time ago, this was a nice little kit, and considering it was actually a fraction of the cost of what most of these things usually are, I was quite impressed. Now, one of the downsides, I do have to say, is at least for this Americanized version of it, and it may be different in Europe, or I know for sure in Japan, is that the Japanese version actually includes his Kamehameha blast to go along with him. Sadly, this one does not. But again, it's a fraction of the cost. You can see here some of the very thin stickers. But overall, I mean, the posability is great. If you're looking for just having a Goku to mess around with on the table and you're like me and like to build stuff, it's a nice little option. Minus his missing Kamehameha. So, since this is part of the Figurerise line, figure we might as well grab a Figurerise model, being Kamen Rider Black right here. Grab a 30-minute sister just to give you guys a good idea of what size to expect. And as always with a Bandai kit, a 1/144th Gundam. So the Figurerise stuff is a little bit larger. The posability is great. Having built both the Master Grade and a couple other Figurerise kits, I have very high expectations in terms of posability. You can see he actually can keep his balance on his own 2 feet. That's always nice to see. Far too often I feel like these model kits, or maybe it's just the kind of stuff that I'm building, doesn't really have a good center of gravity, but he does have a pretty solid foothold there. I believe he did have a base included. Now that I think about it, I can't even remember, and I don't have the box anymore. So I might have to eat those words when I go back and double check and edit this video together, and we'll just pretend that I said something different. Yeah, and I'll completely deny it. But, I mean, if you have more than one Figurerise kit, obviously there's no connector point back there or in the crotch area, so that might be an issue. But other than that, I mean, and they make those, you know, adapters to kind of sit them in, something to keep in mind. Otherwise, you know, nice, solid kit. I feel like I can let one of my kids build it if they were so inclined. Maybe one of my students who's more into Dragon Ball stuff might be more interested than me. I did see they had a regular version of Goku now. It's just hit and miss whatever kind of inventory is in the stores at the time. So if you are in the States and you want a cheap, easy to build, easily accessed model, I don't think you can really complain with any of the Dragon Ball stuff. Personally, I'd prefer some of the more alien kits. I know I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for those while we're in Japan. I'm going to have to get a cell at some point, and I know they make them at least in Japan, so hopefully we'll see him show up at some point in the future on this channel. So, with that said, happy hunting. Hopefully you can get yours for a good price too, and I am going to keep my eyes peeled for more myself. So with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.